Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sandy Frank's political podcast for a people's revolution against the corporate fascist state. Excuse me. I'm your host, Sandy Frank, and today we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but mainly we're going to be concentrating on domestic issues within the United States. Our last several episodes have been on U.S. foreign policy, especially in the Middle East and Africa and Palestine and these places, about the U.S. and NATO and the West's hand in a lot of the violence and exploitation. Of course, the 8 direct wars that the U.S. is taking part in. And the countless other conflicts we're engaged in all over the world with our funding and our power and like our money and everything. So we did 2 big long anti-war, anti-imperialist, neo-colonialism episodes. So today I really wanted to get back to concentrating just at least briefly for part of the program for the corrupt corporate media of the country, especially what just came out about Rachel Maddow, which we'll get to in a second. I just wanted to start and talk about, today is March 22nd, 2017. We're getting the reports out of London of a car attack / stabbing. Now, we're just getting a lot of different kinds of reports right now, but we have the great hypocrisy of the West right now. That what happened in London. If we are to learn concretely that it was perpetrated by what? A refugee from a majority Muslim nation that we're bombing and murdering people in? The scary Muslim terrorism. Oh no, we're in a culture war with Muslim. Oh. It's funny that the same people who would do something like that in Syria, which would be attack people like that, they would be seen as moderate rebels by Western corporate propaganda media. So we have a tweet from Sarah Abdallah saying that, "Said that the very same terrorism that struck London today is what the British government backs against the Syrian people." So that pretty much sums up everything you need to know about the attack, whether, and again, this is, we always want to look to see what and what isn't false flag terrorism in this disgusting world, as we saw, with 9/11 being perpetrated by the CIA and the London bombings, one of the biggest false flag attacks in our history, compared to 9/11 as well. The London bombings from over a decade ago, ample evidence of British intelligence having a lot to do with that. So, before we even point out the hypocrisy of the United States funding rebel terrorist groups in nations like Syria, and then when the same thing happens in the UK, it's decried as terrorism. So I want to read a little bit of the Intercept's article, because the Intercept can be trash when it comes to having the courage really to stand up for false flag attacks. They can be very meek voiced, or however you want to talk about it, when we talk about false flag terrorism and staged terror events perpetrated by the West, British intelligence, the CIA, to sensationalize for more war for profit. It's really just going to look at the last part of this article. You know, there's not even an official statement from their government, and right before that, so let's see, part of the article, and who wrote this article? We'll look at that in a second. But from the Intercept, the Metro Police said that they were, quote, treating this as a terrorist incident until we know otherwise, and armed officers were on the scene. The police also appealed to the public to show, quote, restraint in what images they shared. And then automatically we have, they have like an extra part of their brain that can sense where they can sensationalize against Muslim people. Among those showing no restraint and instead seeking to capitalize on the raw emotions following the attack was the anti-Muslim extremist Tommy Robinson, a hero of Breitbart News, who rushed to the scene of the crime to rant about it being part of a 1400-year war between Islam and the West. Of course, the quote-unquote right-wing part of the corporate media spectrum, your Breitbarts and your Donald Trumps and your Le Pens, jump right on it to rabble-rouse their base. The ending of the article. While Robinson is a fringe figure in Britain, the attack could play a role in the upcoming presidential election in France, given that the French Prime Minister confirmed that some of those injured by the car were school children from Brittany. Marine Le Pen, the far-right anti-Muslim candidate for the presidency, quickly released a statement on the attack, and it's just a run-of-the-mill statement. But yeah, here we go. Of course, this anti-Muslim fake Christian extremism is, of course, just part of one side of the corporate media coin. You'll have the extreme people who sensationalize people into hating Muslims, but then you have the Rachel Maddow fake liberal side of it that says, oh no, we love Muslims. Well, we want to bomb them and murder them and kill them with fire from the sky, but we love them. So, of course, this attack, which led to the death of 4 people, including the quote-unquote attacker. We'll wait to get more information about the actual event. Of course, automatically, the Breitbarts and the anti-Muslim corporate propagandists are hot on the scene. The Trump lovers and the Le Pen lovers. And you hear about the same thing, of course, going on in France. And all around the world, this is global, this corporately funded anti-Muslim movement. You have the youth of France, a lot of young people in France being brainwashed into this corporate narrative of, this fake right-wing, far fake right-wing propaganda campaign to brainwash people into hating Muslims. Of course, you see the same thing directed at the youth